All right, what's going on, everyone? We are in Wukong again, and we are at 1440p resolution with a 4070 Super. I figured as GPU prices continued to get insanely ridiculous, the used market might be a good option. So I picked up a 4070 Super a couple days ago, and yeah, we're going to see what we can expect if we were to, kind of go back to that used market and see what we can find, as far as like something that's not going to cause us to have to sell the family farm in order to get a decent GPU. So right here we are at 126, 127 FPS, and the following settings are in play. Just confirm we are at 1440, and right here we are using DLAA, and we don't have any sort of frame generation on. And of course, we are on low settings. So let's go up to medium. Medium is going to give you a nice boost in visual clarity for sure. Going from low to medium is a gigantic difference. But everything else is kind of more incremental, especially in the higher settings. So right here, still at 92 FPS. This is really good as well. Let's go up here to this hill and see if there's anybody up here. But yeah, we are looking, we're looking good shape here. This is definitely highly playable if you set your expectations accordingly. But I think at 1440, we're going to be okay. I've actually never ran through this test before at all. So I am going to be learning along with you if this can be done. So yeah, we're at 80 FPS here and still looking really good. Oh man, where'd he go? What was that? I thought I just saw a dude. Yeah, we are looking good here. So 80 FPS. Let's go ahead and freeze this guy. I do not feel like dealing with him. Go ahead and pop him and sit him down real quick. All right. I'm on New Game Plus, so I'm kind of early stage with all my, of course, stuff from the first playthrough. But yeah, we're looking about 78, 80 FPS here. So let's jump over and see what we can expect if we just continue to climb up in the settings ladder here. Very high tends to look really nice. There's definitely nothing wrong with very high at all. This is kind of where this card wants to, get under 60 all the time. It's not maintaining 60 plus generally at all. So right here's probably where I would do a little upscale. Just jump up to the, just go ahead and jump up to quality. And, let's keep going with the test there so we can keep moving forward here. So 58, 60 FPS here. And let's do that now. Okay, so I'm going to go up to a quality upscale, which is 67. All right, so there you go. Now we are on the quality upscale, and that gives us a nice boost up to mid 70s. So that's really good to see. So right here is probably where you could, definitely start bringing in some potential ray tracing and whatnot. We're going to go through a lot of settings here. I'm actually going to go to the first area, because with ray tracing, it's going to be a little easier to see. We need some water, we need some reflection. So I'm going to do that now, and I'll be right back. All right, so we are back in kind of the very start of the game here. This has some nice water reflections in it, so I wanted to be able to, show you guys that whenever we get to that ray tracing section. Right here, everything was left the same. Let's go up to cinematic and just kind of push it all the way up without any ray tracing right now. We're still on that quality upscale, and that still should keep us, in a good playable spot. So right here we are at just under 60. So it's, again, not like the best situation, but for a game like this, I think anything over 50 is generally fine. I'm not a person who has to have 60 all the time for a game like this. But yeah, let's just keep going and see what we can expect if we go up a little bit more on our upscaling before we jump into that ray tracing. Ray tracing low is typically pretty easy to run. I don't think that we're going to have too much trouble with ray tracing low. Let's go ahead and just wear these dudes out real fast. All right. So yeah, we are at 60 FPS here with a quality upscale for the most part. I mean, it's not all the time, but it is, generally most of the time to where it's perfectly playable. Let's see what a balanced upscale would look like, though, before, again, we jump into ray tracing. Because if you're playing this game with just no ray tracing at all, it's going to be smoother. It's going to be less hitchy. Unfortunately, this is a game that just has never quite run like the most smooth with ray tracing enabled. But as you can see here, our latency is well under control. We have, of course, 30, 35 milliseconds of latency here. So, definitely not too bad at all. It typically wants to hang around this area And I did see a little bump, and then once you go through this cave, it always hangs where this light is shining through. So that's just the game. So don't think that that's like there's a little hang, although it's not as bad sometimes when ray tracing is not enabled. But yeah, we are looking pretty good here as far as performance goes with no ray tracing. So balance looks good. I'll go up to performance just to kind of like answer that question, but it's going to look really good. You're going to drop down to that M model, which looks amazing. There's the M model again. So let's see here if I can just get these dudes wore out. Locked on, that would probably help. There we go. All right, yeah, so we are looking good here. So that preset M looks fantastic. 70 FPS here. Let's go up to ultra performance just to show you that L model that comes into play. It will generally, let's see, where does it? Okay, ultra performance is 39. All right, yeah, so it will generally pick up the frames enough to where ray tracing becomes a little bit more possible later on. So we're gonna just keep that in mind. Now it is quite blurry at 1440. You know, depending on your screen size. This is a relatively large screen, so it might, you know, your mileage may differ. But yeah, for the most part, you're gonna have a pretty good time with, you know, not having to go to this much upscale. Let's see if I can get through these dudes here. Come on. All right, yeah, so we're looking good as far as all that goes. So let's jump over into ray tracing. And I want to, of course, do a restart because we're going to need to do that. I want to bring this back up to quality before we jump into ray tracing. Actually, it's 67. Yeah, so let's do that now. So low is not going to be too bad to run, and I'm going to start off at at high. So high graphic preset, low ray tracing, and then frame generation's off right now with a quality upscale. Low latency mode, I just leave that on. It typically just keeps your latency in check. So I'm going to restart. I'll be right back. All right, so we've done a quick reload here. We are about 72, mid 70s to low 70s for the most part here. So let's jump over and see what our settings look like right now. So we are going to check them out as follows here. We're still at quality. Frame generation's off. Ray tracing is set to low. Let's go up a little bit on our ray tracing and just see what all it needs to happen whenever we do that. So let's go ahead and let that apply. Once it comes back to life, we'll jump back in. All right, so this is quality with RT set to medium. Now this is probably the most, this is probably the setting that I would use the most for, you know, it avoids path tracing, which is brought in on that like the highest level, which is called just ultra. So there's low, medium, and ultra. So medium is kind of like your traditional ray tracing maxed out. And as you can see here with high settings, quality upscale, and you know, the ray tracing set to medium, you're still around 60. So you're still having a pretty good time here. I mean, it's not like this is impossible to run or anything. You're going to have to go up on your upscaling a little bit more if you want to, however, of course, go to if you want to go up on your ray tracing a little bit, so, or your general settings. I tend to find that oh God, those guys always get me, that high and very high look really good. You know, cinematic is pretty demanding for a lot more diminishing returns. So let's just keep going through it though. By the way, if you're seeing screen tearing or anything like that, that's just YouTube. You know, it's locked to 60. So obviously this is not going to be locked to 60. So you're going to get screen tearing whenever you view it. So that's just, you know, part of something I can't do anything about, unfortunately. But yeah, we are looking pretty good here. So 61, let's go up on our overall settings. All right, so let's push it to very high. So this is like a really, really good setting in my opinion. Very high with full ray tracing set to medium. That gives you everything before path tracing and still gives you a really high level of detail before you jump up to that cinematic. So as you can see, we're just shy of 60. So right here, some frame generation would just do wonders, I think. This would be a really viable setting as far as, you know, just enjoying the game without any major hangs or snags. Speaking of snags, it's going to snag right there. There it goes. That's, again, just the game. It does it every single time. So Right here on quality upscale, with the following settings, I think this looks really good. I'm gonna get some enemies to load in. I'm just gonna rest real quick. So once you kind of get here, you have some paths you can take. You can definitely keep going, or you can just enable some frame generation. So let's just enable frame generation just to see what we can expect there. Wrong button. There we go. So this is just going to keep everything the same, but with frame generation. And as you can see, it brings you up to about 92 FPS. Now your latency is decent. It's, you know, of course it's not wonderful considering, you know, that you can get some better latency on other titles. But 45, 48 on a controller feels really good. You're not giving up anything at all here. So I think that this is another viable setting as well. So I just want to jump into frame gen real quick before I jump back out. I just want to show you kind of some different possibilities here. So let's turn frame generation off and let's go up on our overall preset. Let's go up to cinematic. All right, so cinematic with frame gen off with ray tracing set to medium. You're down in the 50s. It's a little bit rougher as far as frame pacing goes. It doesn't feel quite as smooth, but it is a pretty decent experience. I mean, you can definitely get away with this for the most part. You're going to have to put up with a little bit of jank here and there, but to be honest, this whole game is just kind of like putting up with a little bit of jank here and there. I mean, that's just the way the game is. If you're tearing your hair out with micro stutters and all that, it's not your hardware. It's nothing you can do about it. It's just the game itself, which is unfortunate, but you know, thankfully the game is so good you can probably overlook that most of the time. So right here, 49 FPS, 48. So we're definitely going to have to do a little bit more upscaling. But before we do that, I just want to kind of show you worst case scenario before we do too much upscaling. Right here, let's go up to very high. Now, this card typically handles ray tracing pretty well. You know, for the most part, it's just one generation old. And, you know, NVIDIA tends to do better on ray tracing and path tracing. So as you can see right here, though, you're in the 40s. It's not terrible. You can definitely run it just fine this way. And, you know, with some frame generation, of course, not exactly like this. I just kind of mean settings wise, visually. But yeah, let's go ahead and let's work through this guy. There we go. All right, so 40 FPS. Let's throw on some frame gen. All right, so if you want to keep that quality DLSS, I totally understand that. So let's throw on some frame gen, which is just auto. I mean, it's just, I guess, the standard frame generation that comes on the 40 series. So that gets you up to about 70 FPS, but we want to pay attention mainly to our latency because we are frame generating from a slightly lower base frame rate. It's going to negatively impact our latency. However, with that latency, the reflex set to auto, you have some decent latency numbers, especially for a controller. So this is completely maxed out at 1440p, which is absolutely the target resolution for this card. So I think this is a really, really strong card right now, especially with the 5070 and the 5070 Ti just exploding in price. You know, going back one generation there's nothing wrong with that, especially if you can save a bunch of money. The only thing I would caution is make sure you buy it from a trusted source that offers a warranty. I bought these specifically from eBay's refurbished, and you can filter. So if you go to eBay, you can filter the condition by, you know, used, new, open box, all that stuff. But anything that says eBay refurbished comes with a warranty. So that's specifically why I bought it from there. Other retailers offer the same thing. I know that, you know, there's a ton of people out there that buy and sell used GPUs. Just make sure 100% that you get a warranty whenever you're buying any kind of used component like this. So right here, you know, quality upscaling with everything basically turned all the way up to 11. You're getting about 69 FPS here with some really beautiful scenery. The reflections look really good. This is why I came to this area. I wanted to, you know, run through it with some water. The desert is not necessarily a great place to appreciate ray tracing. So yeah, let's go through it here and see what we can expect with a little bit different settings, I guess what I'm trying to say. So right here, let's turn the frame gen off and see what we can achieve with a balanced upscale, leaving everything completely maxed out. And I will say that I am quite impressed with how the 4070 is handling ray tracing, especially for being a generation old card. It just, if you really want to appreciate ray tracing right now, you're gonna have to go with some version of 40 or 50 series card. And the 9070 XT has made a lot of inroads when it comes to ray tracing. However, path tracing still belongs to NVIDIA. So if you're into that stuff like I am, I love my eye candy. I tend to lean more towards NVIDIA for that reason. But again, you know, nothing wrong at all with AMD cards. If you just simply want a game to just brute force, you know, your way through it and don't worry about ray tracing and path tracing and all that stuff. But the 9070 XT actually handles it pretty well, you know, from what I've been able to test. So if you are interested in any of those cards, there's playlists set up. You can check it out. You can check it out on my channel. So right here, let's go up to, let's see, performance. Let's get it on that M model and see what we can expect there. So this is another way to avoid frame generating. If that's not your thing, get your latency way down, because we are bringing that base resolution down and then upscaling. Your latency is going to be greatly improved. So right now we're in the 40s, which again, on a controller, anything under about 75 is perfectly fine to me. So let's check out that, and let's go to that ultra performance with the L model. Just get like a quick read on that. So let's come down here. I believe it's 39. Yep. All right. So let's jump into it and see what we can expect there on the L model. So this is upscaling, and we are at about 75 FPS here with a really nice PCL. The 33 milliseconds is wonderful. It is looking pretty rough though. You know, I really don't like going to ultra performance unless I'm on 4K. Honestly, because the upscale is just a little bit too extreme to me. So how I would probably run this title, now that we're kind of like closing out, I would probably run it at quality right here, and then turn everything up to 11. It's just a stylistic thing. Cinematic can be a little harder to run. Very high still looks really, really good. But yeah, let's kind of max it all out, turn our frame generation on, and this is going to give you a really, really clean image. And again, you know, the new presets look beautiful. 58, 61, you know, ish. Your latency, let's give it some time to collect some frames and start to kind of settle out what the latency is going to be. Anything under 75 most of the time is perfectly fine with me on a controller. So this is probably how I would play it right here. You know, if you want to see what some of the other upscales look like with some frame generation, let's do that now. So let's go to 58. So this would be balanced with that frame generation on. Still looks nice and clean, still on that preset K. This is just it's a quality look with a little bit, it's not quite like middle between quality and performance. You know, it gives it a little bit more, it just kind of takes the edge off is what I like to say. So, you know, if quality's not quite doing it for you and you need a little bit more, balance is where it's at. All right. So 45 milliseconds, 46 looks really good. So let's jump up to the performance upscale and see what we can expect there, and kind of close out with that for the folks who just want, you know, kind of max frame rate and don't care about upscaling a little bit more in some frame generation. So right here, still looking really, really good. And we are, you know, of course, at 52, 56 milliseconds. This dude's got a lot of help. Come on, jeez. Oh. Finish it with a fight that I'm probably going to lose. There we go. Come on. There. Jeez, my God. These dudes are so freaking hard sometimes on New Game Plus, even just like in the earlier stages. There we go. Whew. I don't know how I made it through that. All right, so yeah, we are looking good here. Performance, you're still in the 90s, man. I mean, this looks really good. Now, there's this puddle up here that I wanted to kind of run you guys through and kind of show you the difference between the ray tracing. So let me see if I can get over here to it. It's right over here in this corner. It's kind of one of the places that I've seen recently that gives you a lot of kind of the difference between that ray tracing. So right here, with everything set to max, you get a lot of transparency here. Again, that path tracing is coming in. So if I knock it down, all right, I'm just going to knock it down to medium. It's still going to look very similar. It's not going to be a huge hit. You still get that transparency, and you get a lot more performance back. That's kind of why I think that, honestly, medium ray tracing on this title is really good. You don't have to like crank it all the way up to path tracing because it doesn't really look that different to me. But yeah, so that's kind of what that looks like. And then of course, if we come in here and go to ray tracing low, it's just going to look a little bit flatter, but we're still going to retain those shadows. All right, so yeah, as you can see here, it's a little bit, you just don't have like the depth to the water, but again, reflections are kind of like the main thing when it comes to water. Ray trace shadows still look really good. It's going to make all your darks really dark and your lights really light. You get that like effect like walking out into the sunshine with ray trace shadows on. So that's kind of what that does. But yeah, I mean, I'm going to wrap it up here. I think this has been a pretty solid test. And again, you know, if you want to check out playlists and whatnot, depending on what card you're, you know, interested in, I've put a lot of them together. This is like, I don't know, 280th something video right now. So been at it about a year. The response has been great. Thank you for, you know, joining and doing your, subscribing and all that stuff. If you haven't subscribed yet, please consider doing so. We'll see you in the very next video. Peace.